if not everybody, the majority of us understand Kiswahili. Maybe you need to hear a bit of Kiswahili. You've been away for too long. So karibuni sana katika makao haya ya naibu wa rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. This is what the media has branded the Hustler Mansion. So you're most welcome to the Hustler Mansion this morning. Not just today, when you have opportunity at another moment, and when God grants us that opportunity, I want to say welcome today and welcome again when you find time. Let me also appreciate all of you for finding the time to come and participate in this very first diaspora meeting in Kenya. I know we have held diaspora meetings as government, but we have never held a diaspora meeting as a political party. I want to say thank you very much for being the pioneers of building a party with joint forces between those of us who live in Kenya and the many of you who live in the diaspora. I want to say to all of you, congratulations for this very big step. I have been in political party arrangements since I ran for the first time when I was 30. But I have never attended a diaspora meeting in Kenya by a political party. This is the first one. So you people are trailblazing. You're setting the standard. And I know many of you have made huge sacrifices to make your travel arrangements, to make it possible for you to attend this meeting in person. And I don't take it for granted. I want to say thank you very much. And I want to assure you that this meeting will be worth every cent that you have spent to be here. I also want to say it is the highest mark of patriotism if you decide to participate in the governance of your country. Many people, because they are comfortable wherever they are, they have what they need, they don't see the need of participating in politics. But you know that it is said the people who don't vote, the punishment they are given is to be led by fools. You know, so if you decide not to vote or to participate in the governance of your country, others will. And there is a possibility that people will be chosen who may not necessarily be the ones you would want to run the affairs of your country. So the fact that you have stepped forward to participate and to influence and to be part of what will be the governance of your country going forward is a very high mark of patriotism. And I want to tell you, you have made the right step. If any one of you doubted whether by taking time out of your busy schedules, spending the money you have spent, going through the inconveniences you may have gone through with the advent of COVID-19, whether this was all worth it, let me tell you that just on the account that you want to play your patriotic role as a citizen, I want to tell you, you have made the right decision. And having said that, I also want to appreciate that for the first time, we are building a political party, and there is tremendous contribution from Kenyans of all walks of life. And you people from the diaspora have become, if I may say, with a light touch, the icing on the cake. It has never happened that people in the diaspora have been so enthusiastic and they have gone out of their way. They have really literally forced us to know that there is a diaspora, they have ideas, they have contributions to make in all manner of ideas. And I want to say to you, we don't take it for granted, and we value the partnership that we have between UDA as a party and the role you play as our diaspora. For a very long time, the discussion around the diaspora has just been about money, and how much money is coming in and that kind of thing. And I agree with you that that discussion cannot continue to just be about money. It must be about a wholesome relationship where you people can meaningfully participate in the governance of our country. And even as you support the country with diaspora finances, we must make it easier for you to make that contribution, and we must make it easier for you to be serviced by the government of Kenya, and also that your ideas and your talents can help push the country forward. I want to tell you that going into the future, that discussion and the engagement with the diaspora is not necessarily going to be about money. Money is important, but it is going to be about more than money. We're going to look out for contributions in terms of the human resource that we are building outside there, and it's going to be about how we can tap into the talent that exists within the diaspora for us to grow our country locally and our country internationally. Let me also tell you that the journey of building this party, the UDA party, has been a journey that many Kenyans have participated. And it is out of the realization that having built the Jubilee Party as a national party, we managed to move things a lot more faster in the 8 years that Jubilee has governed this country. It became possible to harness the energy, the talent, the ideas of majority of Kenyans because of the national nature of the Jubilee Party until it stopped being one. So the genesis of us putting together the UDA party is when we ran into trouble with the Jubilee Party because the leadership there decided that they changed the way of running things, and many of the party members were removed from leadership positions in Parliament, removed from leadership positions in committees, removed from participating meaningfully in any party affairs. It was not possible to have a meeting of the party, and the only meetings that happened in the party were meetings for expulsion of members. So it became absolutely clear that it was time to re-engineer a national political party. And it's because all of us realized the importance of a national political party. The milestones we managed to make as a government, and I am talking as deputy president, the milestones we managed to achieve as government, whether it is the SGR, whether it is the 10,000 kilometers of new tarmac we have built, whether it is the 8.5 million people we have managed to connect to electricity, whether it is the 170 new technical training colleges that we have built, were all achieved because we had a national political party that had the capacity to harness talent, leadership, ideas from the biggest section of the people of Kenya. And that being the case, and having practically been part of that journey, we then decided with many leaders that with the collapse, so to speak, of Jubilee, our party, we came up and put together the UDA party. I want to tell you today the efforts of many leaders in Kenya, and I specifically want to thank the members of Parliament that worked with us towards putting this party together. Today, the UDA party is the most popular political party in Kenya. And every opinion poll carried out by everybody shows that. Today, we have 160 members of Parliament who are supporters of the UDA party. In fact, the UDA parliamentary group is the largest parliamentary group in the Kenyan Parliament. And it is the sheer effort of many Kenyans that have put this UDA party together, including the people from diaspora. So if you had any doubt whether the efforts you have put in creating the UDA party have borne any fruit, I want to confirm to you that you have participated in creating the most popular party in Kenya with the largest parliamentary group in our parliament. And I want to say congratulations to all of you for being part and parcel of that journey. The second issue I want to discuss with you is the UDA party and the future. What is our position? Because you've heard from our party chairman, who has said that for a long time, political parties in Kenya were formulated around tribes and communities and regions. And we have this false narrative that, politics in Kenya is tribal. That is a very unfortunate narrative, because it's a narrative that makes us resign to a situation that undermines the growth and development of our nation. We cannot accept. And it is a narrative that is actually peddled by lazy people. When a politician is unable to develop a proper framework, an ideology that they can use to persuade Kenyans to belong, then they resign to the easy option of a tribal party. And as we've heard from our chairman, except maybe 2 political parties in Kenya, except 2, all the other 60 or so political parties, you can actually conduct their NEC meeting or parliamentary group in mother tongue. Right? So you actually have a very unfortunate scenario there. The UDA party is part of the response to get our country out of the jaws of ethnic politics so that we can form a broad-based political party with an ideology that can bring Kenyans together, where Kenyans feel they belong to UDA, not necessarily because of who leads UDA, but because of what UDA stands for. And this is our policy position as UDA. Number one, we believe as a party that the challenge that we must tackle as a priority and expect us to. And I will tell you of an incident about 2 months ago. Right in this place, there was a lady sitting there, and she was given an opportunity to speak from one of the areas in Nairobi. And the lady had this to say. She said, and she was almost 80. So she said, her grandfather and the children of her grandfather did not get a job anywhere. And so did her own father's children. She has not managed herself to get a job for any of her children. And even her grandchildren, nobody has got a job. So there has been 5 generations in her family, and not a single person has had the opportunity to have a job. That's how serious unemployment is in Kenya. As we talk today, we have 4 million young people out of school with certificates, degrees, diplomas, some of them with masters, and they do not have jobs. So the position of UDA is that the first priority, and we had created a framework under the Big Four, which we were unable to implement because of shenanigans around politics, that next year we must invest resources, and we are clear where those resources are going to come from. We're going to invest at least 100 billion Kenya shillings in housing, agro-processing, value addition, and manufacturing to create millions of jobs for the young people of our nation. That is our position. Our second item as a policy position And when we talk about jobs, we are not just talking about creating jobs in Kenya. Creating jobs in the diaspora is part of our strategy. And I like what was mentioned here by the report that we had here, that we need to sign labor relationships, human resource relationship with different countries where we can export our labor once we have labor in excess. There are already relationships going on. There are discussions going on. In fact, we have started to see some of the labor export MOUs bearing fruit. And as has been said here, there are countries who have specialized on labor outside their country. So when we discuss about jobs, we are discussing about jobs in the entirety, in our economy, and our economy goes beyond our borders. The second issue is that we clearly want to create an environment for us to do business. And it is our position that we have to create a business environment. We've been working on our ease of doing business indices, and we have driven it from 100, we were position number 136. The last time we had reached position 50 in our ease of doing business index that is sponsored by the World Bank. Our position is that access to credit is a big issue in our country. And as a result, we have said that going into the future, and because 80% of our business environment is controlled by SMEs, small, medium, and micro enterprises. Next year, we will have a fund funded by the government of Kenya. We will start with the first 50 billion Kenya shillings to be able to make it possible for ordinary business, the small business people, to be able to access credit. You may want to know that today, the small business people pay anywhere between 5 and 10% per day for money they borrow, which is between 2,000 and 3,000% per year. Do you understand what I'm saying? You will not believe it, but that's what it is. Small people, the micro business people, they pay 1,000 times in terms of credit than the big corporations pay, because they have no security, they have no credit rating, and so they cannot access credit in any other way. You may want to know that as a result of that credit ecosystem being what it is today, and I want you to follow the president's speech on Mashujaa Day, 14 million Kenyans are blacklisted on CRB. Do you know what 14 million Kenyans mean? It's more than half the working population in Kenya. That's how serious that credit ecosystem is. So, for us to grow business, we have to do three things. Number one, we need to create an environment where many of our enterprises can do their business. Physical infrastructure, whether it is markets or such other infrastructure that our ordinary business people can do their business. Number two is to create the necessary law to protect everybody's business. Today, many businesses are criminalized. Hawking takes place everywhere in the world. It is only in Kenya that hawking is a criminal offense. We have to find the place for hawkers because there is a business they are doing. So what we do is to hire thousands of personnel to fight hawkers. We should actually reverse it. We shouldn't make hawking legal, but now formalize it so that it is organized and it doesn't become a battle. Yeah, it doesn't become a conflict, you know. Organize it in proper places, with the time, and a properly organized environment. And finally, as I have said, we need to organize the financial ecosystem so that small enterprises can access credit that is not 1,000 times more expensive than the other corporates. Number three, we are very clear on what we need to do going into the future. That we must reduce the cost of living. If you hear any Kenyan, they will tell you, in fact, the single big challenge we have, in any opinion poll, Kenyans will say the cost of living is very high. And the only reason why the cost of living is very high is because the last survey we did as government, every Kenyan spends 52, on average, I'm not saying people are there, I'm saying on average. On average, Kenya Bureau of Statistics tell us every Kenyan spends 52% of their income in buying food. So if you are spending 52% of your income in buying food, it means you have very little left after you pay rent and other incidentals, very little left in your pocket. And the reason why we have food that is very expensive is for two reasons. One, we have withdrawn all the subsidies that we used to support the farmers to be able to increase their productivity. We must go out of our way to increase the productivity of our farmers. Where a farmer is producing 10 kilos, with a bit of support, they can produce 15 kilos on the same piece of land. So that's the direction we want to go, and that means we have to provide seeds, we have to provide fertilizer, we have to provide support that is paid for by government so that we can enhance the productivity of our farmers. It will do two things. Number one, it will put more money in the farmer's pocket. And number two, when we remove cartels and we remove brokers, we will get food to the market at affordable prices. If we can reduce on average, instead of 52% of every Kenyan spending their income on food, if we can bring it to 30 or 35, we will then have more money in the pockets of Kenyans. They can spend more, we can collect more taxes, and we can drive the economy of our country. Point number 4 is we have to sort out our health care system. I know many of you pay hefty bills from wherever you are, and so do we here in Kenya. If there is one big problem that is a challenge to many families and many homes and many people, it is the challenge of health. When we came into office in 2013, the people who had a health insurance, who were on health insurance program, were about 3.5 million, who had an NHIF card. We worked on it because everybody was paying 340 shillings to NHIF. 340 shillings is how many dollars? $3 every month. $1, $2, $3. You know? And so we pushed it a bit. And from $3, I now pay 1,700. 1,700 is what? How many dollars? $17. So I now pay $17. Just moving it from $3 to $17, and not for everybody, for the higher category, we moved our collections from just under 900 million Kenya shillings, which is $9 million, I think. We moved it to 3.5 billion, which is about $30 million, just by moving that small percentage. Now, today, the lower category, you know, the people whose income is like 5,000 shillings a month, they pay 500 shillings, which is 10% of their income. But you, as truly the deputy president, who earns 1 million shillings, is paying 1,700, which is not 10%, you know. The small guy is paying 10% of their income. I am paying 5 zeros before 1. You know? Because I pay 1,700. So we have just passed the law in Parliament, which we should have passed in 2018, because our universal health coverage program that was in the Big Four collapsed because of the reggae shenanigans. Yeah? We were too busy engaged in this. Now, we just found time about a month ago after the reggae collapse. We found time and passed the law that we should have passed in 2018. So we now have a law that will allow us to change the contribution schedule from being a standard figure to being what the world is doing, to being a percentage of everybody's income. So that if the lowest category is paying 10%, then we must decide everybody pays 10%. If we think that is too much, then let us pay 5%, or let's pay 2%, but let it be spread evenly in accordance with everybody's income. I want to tell you that even if we settled for 3%, we will move our contribution from around maybe 60, 70 billion shillings every year. We will move it to between 200 and 250 billion shillings every year. And I tell you, we will have a working public insurance, hospital insurance scheme that will sort out all our challenges in matters health. I have committed myself that within the first 100 days, of our next administration, we will have a working public health insurance scheme. I am prepared to be held to account on that particular matter because I have been at it for the last 8 years and I know it is doable. Yeah? So that you guys in the diaspora, you do not need to be sending money to pay for hospitals. All you will need to do is to put your folks on a health insurance scheme funded by the public with your contribution, and matters, hospital bills will be a thing of the past. And finally, our plan, we have a 5-point plan. Finally, our plan, point number 5, is to re-engineer our public saving strategy. Today, statistics, the numbers, we save as Kenya 7% of our GDP, right? China, by comparison, saves 55% of their GDP. 7% and 55%. Do you see the difference? And that's the reason why we are all over the place borrowing Chinese money, because they have learned to save. We have no money of our own because investment is a function of savings. If you have not saved, you cannot invest because you have nothing. So what are we doing? We are running our development using the savings of other people because we have refused to save ourselves. Do you understand what I'm saying? Go to everybody who works in Kenya today. Ask them for their pay slip. The money we save in our national social security. Sorry. Pole. Yeah. Our seats are a bit uncomfortable. Do you understand what I'm saying? Go to everybody pay slip. They will tell you the savings we save to NSSF is 200 shillings. How much? 200 shillings. $2. Everybody pays $2. Explain to me logically how $2 can amount to any saving anywhere in the world. Do you understand what I'm saying? Uganda across, the law dictates that you save 5% of your salary. And your employer contributes 5% to your saving. Uganda have built the largest social security fund in East and Central Africa. Yet we have the largest economy. Sometimes you wonder, maybe sitting where you are sitting, whether what I am telling you is true or because it doesn't look serious. But that's how it is. That's how it is. And that's how simple it is for us to sort out our country. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, we already have worked on the law. We were supposed to have moved forward with it, but because we became busy trying to change the constitution, which we did not, we lost a lot of valuable time. Next year, God willing, we will have the law that will enable us do the honorable thing. In fact, Tanzania built the whole parliament using their own money. They borrowed from their NSSF. Instead of us borrowing money from China, we should begin the journey to save our own money and fund our development using money borrowed from our own sources and pay interest to our own Kenyans and be able to fund our development. Instead of paying interest to Chinese savers, because they did the right thing to fund their own savings. And by the way, take seriously what I am telling you, because that's what it is, So we should be able to turn around our fortunes. And I want to tell you one thing. I am very clear in my mind that within our lifetime, when we are all still there, this country will change in a way you cannot imagine. Before we go anywhere, we don't need more than 20, 25 years. Kenya will be something else. Are we together? This, our country, this one, it will be something else. Everything else you hear, these are just excuses. The most critical thing that we need in Kenya is just leadership. That's all. We have everything else in place. We just need the men and women to make the right decisions for us, and Kenya will change tremendously. And we have a record for it, When we embarked on the infrastructure you heard the president talk about in Parliament, many people thought it was impossible to do 10,000 kilometers of tarmac in 10 years because we have done 11,000 in 50 years. But we achieved it, right? Many people thought it was not possible for us to connect 8 million people to electricity because 2 million people were collected in 50 years. But we've done it, right? So what I am telling you is doable. We just need to get the right fellows to get it done. And that is why we have assembled UDA to help us achieve this plan and transform our nation. Our problem, good people, our problem is not ethnicity. Are we together? Let us not struggle too much as we are trying to solve ethnicity. Our problem is this. We just need the correct leadership. Hii ukabila ita evaporate. Once everybody can get what they want, why do you want to know who belongs to what tribe? But when people have failed, they start to explain, we have failed here because that community has gotten more than us. You go and check with that community, they have nothing. We are all in the same pot. Hii ni ukora tu ya hapa katikati so that people can continue to be relevant. Are we together? So that is what I wanted to explain to you. Let me then just conclude by responding to some of the issues you have raised. Yes, we will have a diaspora ministry. And I am very clear in my mind that we will have a diaspora ministry. Are we together? And it's not a favor. It's not a favor. It is because we need it, and it will help us do many things. So it is a given, yeah? There is no even negotiating around it. We'll have a diaspora ministry. Number two, we must create financial instruments that will enable you to be able to invest in your country without necessarily being conned left, right, and center. Yeah? We will create financial instruments that will help you invest. If we are investing in our housing program, for example, you don't have to struggle buying cement, somebody doing iyo mambo yote. We will give you an opportunity to buy into a house that is ready. properly, in a properly organized neighborhood, in a properly secured arrangement where, and it's not just you, all Kenyans, but we will make it easy for you guys to be able to invest in your country in real estate and in every other area that you want to invest. We will make it possible for you to help us invest in bonds that will help finance our development. Today, banks are making a killing by putting their money in bonds, where they are getting interest of 10, 15%. There is no mechanism for you as a single person in diaspora to participate. We must structure that bond network so that even ordinary people with $100, $200, $50 can also invest in bonds and get this money that banks today are making. If you look at the balance sheet of any bank in Kenya, 50% of their profit is because of government bonds. That 50% of money they make should not just be made by banks. Banks should actually not be investing in government bonds. We should get the public, like yourselves, to invest in government bonds. Banks should be lending money to Kenyans. They should be doing real business. They should not just be sitting in offices and making money from, government bonds. Are we together? We must, hopefully with a diaspora ministry, the kind of challenges you go through trying to get this paper, that paper, an ID, to renew your passport, to renew this, to get a visa here. We actually came in with the e-citizen platform, which in my opinion, I thought it would have made it much more easier for citizens around the world to get access to government services. I know we've made quite a stride, but there are still challenges, around e-citizen. That is something we should correct. In a world of technology, surely, somebody must not necessarily be traveling 8 hours to go and collect a document, surely. In a world of technology, we should be able to do that from wherever you are sitting, And ICT is a big thing in Kenya, and we should be able to make it possible. So we will need a discussion around all that so that we make it easy for us to service Kenyans who are outside our borders, as we do those who are within. The welfare issue you have mentioned, sometimes Kenyans feel abandoned. They get into situations around the world, and there is nobody to help them, and there is nobody to come through for them. I think that is something that hopefully the diaspora ministry will think through. And when we talk about the diaspora ministry, we will try as much as we can to get people with diaspora experience to run that ministry, so that we can leverage on their knowledge and understanding on diaspora issues and be able to help us sort them out faster and much more efficiently. Kenya is very poorly represented internationally, especially in international organizations. We are actually punching below our weight. You will find that in the UN agencies, in international organizations, I think the number of Kenyans working in those international organizations are the fewest for any country. So the people in the diaspora is a resource that we must use to be able to leverage our place in international organizations, because you will have the relevant experience that can give us the opportunity to get into those positions. I don't know when the Secretary General of the United Nations is going to be a Kenyan. You know? Yeah? So I'm talking of something like that, you know? We've had somebody from Egypt. We've had Kofi Annan from some corner. I mean, there must be a day when we will have a Kenyan as the Secretary General of the United Nations. And I'm just giving the UN as an example. Are we together? And I agree with you that we should have county chapters of the diaspora, so that every county can leverage on the people they have wherever it is around the world. So, good people, I am the UDA Policy Task Force. My good friend Eliud Awalo is here. In fact, he is our contact person at the party on matters to do with the diaspora, so that we can be able to work out things a lot faster. And as you've heard, the Secretary General is out of town. She was supposed to travel back yesterday, but there was a problem with her traveling, so her flight was cancelled, so she will come, but a bit later. This is a very important engagement for us, and that's why we are here. I also want to tell you that as you are in Kenya, we are looking up to you to provide ideas, expertise, and also support our fundraising initiatives as we build the Hustler Party. You know, the Hustler Party is a party for everybody, and every cent and every shilling and every dollar counts. So again, I want to welcome you to that space. Don't shy away from your ideas. Don't shy away from whatever it is that you can contribute in terms of talent. And I like the idea somebody said here. We also are working on adopt a polling station, adopt a sub-county, adopt a ward, you know. If we, and the party, Eliud and your team should be able to prepare packages. You know, what does adopt a polling station entail? What does adopt a ward entail? What does adopt a sub-county entail? How do we create a pool of volunteers? We have so many volunteers already in Kenya, fashioned differently. We have all manner of, we have many groups that have volunteered, formed themselves into Hustler this, Hustler the other, UDA this, and that kind of thing. So that big body of people are the people we want to harness as volunteers to make our push for the party. So I know I have taken a bit of time, but I just thought I need to share these ideas with you so that we are all of the same mind. I will sit here for another 45 minutes to listen to some of the feedback from you guys, and then we will then agree on how to go forward. Sawa sawa. Asanteni sana na karibuni. Thank you.